Hello, let's do the Netflix puzzled Starstruck for May 30th. We'll do the easy then the hard. Easy is called Oddly Sized. Let's play. The way we play this game is in each row, each column, and each colored region, we need to place exactly one star. Stars also can't touch each other, even diagonally, so that wouldn't be allowed. Now, this red region has only one cell. We got to put a star in it, so that's where it goes. Now, you'll notice that this is X'd out all of these because they all touch that red star. So we can't put another star touching it. So green can only put a star here now. You'll notice blue has been reduced to these two. These two cell patterns, or formations I like to call them, are very common and also can be automatic once you learn how to do them. So they're going to remove the rest of the column because there's going to be a star in one of these two. Can't repeat one in the column, so now the rest of the column's out. It's also going to remove the two to the left and the two to the right because wherever the star ends up, it would touch it. This touches both of these, this touches both of these, so does this, and so does that. So you can just automatically do that. Now, we'll notice that that affects yellow here. So yellow's in one of these two. So anything that I use the word C as a very generic term to be like is in the same row, is in the same column, or touches. Basically, two stars can't see each other. And so you'll notice that both of these cells can't be in because they would see both of the yellow cells that are left. So they're going to see the star that ends up in yellow because they both share a column with this one and they both touch this one. Or in this one even shares a row, but that doesn't really matter. You just have to pick one. So now indigo's down to these three, which may or may not be helpful. Brown is down to these two. And in fact, this one sees both browns. Okay. This isn't easy, so I would not expect to have to use this deduction. There's two deductions we can use, though. Both of them are interesting enough that I want to talk about them. So the first deduction we can use is that in this row, we are down to these two cells. And so we're going to have a star either here or here, for sure. Now you'll notice that in yellow, we're going to have a star either here or here. And so in these two columns here, the two columns to the left of this red line, in those two columns, we're going to have two stars. And one of them will be in this row, and one of them will be in yellow. So we can't put a star in one of these two. It's just not going to work because that would be another star in that column, right? As soon as I put a star up here, this row is going to need a star. It better be right here. And then now yellow has nowhere for a star is another way to put that. But I think the lineup is a bit more straightforward logic as opposed to a look ahead. So we can actually remove these two. And then now indigo has only one place to put a star. And now yellow has one place. This is where the two stars ended up, here and here. Now, I want to talk about the other thing I saw before we continue. By the way, there is one thing we can do immediately here, which is because we know a star is one of these two, even ignoring yellow, this one here sees them both because you can see through your region. Can't put two stars in the same region. And this shares a column. So no matter where the star ends up, this one's out. And then that actually does point down, getting rid of that and giving us that. So that's probably the correct way forward. But let me talk about, before we move on, let me talk about the other thing I wanted to say, because this does happen in hard. So it's good analysis. So we need a star here. We need a star here. We need a star in yellow in one of these two, and we need a star in blue in one of these two. You'll notice that these touch. So we can't put two stars there, and these share a row, so we can't put two stars there. But I need two stars, so I can't put them both up here. I can't put them both down here. So one of them will be in this top group, and one of them will be in this bottom group. Well, if one's in the bottom group, that's it for the row. We can remove these two from the rest of that row. So that's another thing I saw, which is potentially useful. All right, so another way to see that, by the way, another thing you could think about is these two rows here need two stars. We can only put one here, so the other one's going to end up somewhere in orange, meaning the other oranges aren't in. All very, very cool deductions, but really the big deduction here is there may even be something easier. Yeah, so there's two. This is the easiest deduction that we could do right now, which immediately gets us stars. This is probably the easy deduction, which is that in this column, we need to place a star, and it's going to end up in one of these three. That's going to be an orange. So we can't put another star in orange. These are out, and that places a star in brown, which places this one and that one, which we had seen earlier. So lots of ways forward here. I think it's really cool to think about different ways you can move forward. So we could, let's just use that one because that feels like the most straightforward one. That gives us brown, that gives us indigo, gives us yellow and blue and orange, and we're done. So I hope those were helpful. Like, more techniques in your tool belt means more things to spot, and especially in the hard, sometimes they're actually necessary. Oh, shoot, I clicked the wrong thing again. They have this trap where if you click the wrong thing, it's a bunch of clicks and a rescroll to get back in. Anyway, hard's called rough C. All right. Lots of staircase patterns here. Do I see anything obvious? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 staircases. They use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I think we start here. The bottom 5 rows here. All of the staircases plus orange, which I guess could also be considered a staircase, depending on what you think about it, are below this red line. And there's, let me just count them out here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions fully below this line. And there's only 5 stars because it's 5 rows. 1, 2, 3. Why am I doing this? 4. You can count. 5. So the 5 stars that are in these 5 rows are going to end up in these 5 regions. So if you aren't those regions, you aren't a star. So we can just immediately get rid of all those. All right. Now that means orange is down to those. So we can just automatically eliminate all those. So it's down to these 2. What else does this do for me? I got rid of this. I got rid of these. That's not super helpful. Maybe green. Not quite. All right, this is down to 3, so we can get rid of this guy. Huge deductions here. What else is going on? Could it be columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Problem with columns is we keep introducing another one. Are there any almosts we could do? Let's think about this for a second. So we're expecting 4. This is 4 columns. Definitely 1's in indigo. 2 is in yellow. Now we're kind of 2 out of these 3 will have stars. Is that interesting in some way? No. Not like that, it's not. So maybe if we move one more over, let's just erase this, and we do 5 columns like this. So we've got 1, 2. It doesn't really help, does it? Well, I guess this is the point, is that I do need to place 5 stars. So it's either going to end up in these 3, or we're going to end up exactly here. So that's a little interesting, because if it ends up somewhere in this W shape, which is one of the 2 options, right? It's got to end up either in gray or in this W shape, but it can't end up in both because the W shape sees this entire star. So they're incompatible with each other. And my point here is that between this gray region and this W for the blue, I only get 1 star. Which means, so if star 3 could be either here or here, but we couldn't put a star 4 here also, meaning this is star 4 and this is star 5. And so that's my 5 stars. I don't have any other choice. One goes in indigo, yellow, brown, red, and then somewhere in this extended staircase that includes this gray, because we can't put 2 in there. And so we can eliminate these, which is pretty fun. And we can't eliminate these because we might end up in gray instead. But let's see if that did anything. I wonder if there's an easier way to see that, but that was pretty neat. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. I eliminated these. I don't think it did anything. It was cool though. um I need something else to do, but I'm just kind of staring. Is there something with columns I can do? I already did these 5. I wonder if there's like a similar piece of logic for the 4 to the right of it. So we need 4. 1's definitely here. 2 is definitely here. 3 is definitely here. So the 4th is either in this blue or this gray. So it is kind of the corollary. Where in this big region here we have 1, and in this staircase here we have 1. So there's definitely a star in there, and there's definitely a star somewhere in here. So those are kind of like virtual regions. Do they help me at all is the question. I don't see how. So yeah, I don't see it. I need something else. I might have to start looking at look-aheads. There's some very powerful cells, but the thing you want to check, you don't want to just check random stuff. You want to check something that's actually going to be useful. It's like one of these 2 oranges maybe, or whether it's this one. Like I think knowing whether it's this one or not would be very powerful. So because that's sort of the odd one out. So I'm just gonna mark that if we had a star there, then all of these are out, as well as all these. So it puts 1 in this L shape, not L shape, Tetris shape. It forces this one too. And it also forces 1 in one of these 2. And so it forces red. And that gets rid of all of yellow. Now, that's quite the look ahead. But it doesn't work. Can I boil that down to something that's that's reasonable to think about? So kind of. I mean, all we really need to think about is that this one scratches these out, puts it in one of these 2. And so this one's getting rid of these reds. These are getting rid of these reds. This gets rid of these reds as well. We're down to these 3. But this also places this guy, which gets rid of these reds. So we're down to just 1 place for red. And then now we have nowhere to put yellow. Because that's out. And this sees the rest of them. I don't know. It's like... It's a lot, but we can get rid of that. And that means that we have to be in this W, so we're not here. I wish there was something better, but I couldn't find it. Now, we have a lot of like, this almost sees everything of a region, right? Like this one almost sees all of gray. We'd have to place here. So this one ends up using these 2 rows. Those are out. And that places this one, which kills red. So there's something about like squeezing next to the staircases that cascades in a way that I'm not understanding. But for this reason, we can't place here because it kills red. It places this gray. So these are out, but it also places this blue. So we're going to X that out. That means the rest of this row's out because it's one of these 2. Now, did that help? Something to note, I guess we're down to these 3. So, oh no, it's the 4, it's not the 3. Wait, 1, 2. Okay, I guess something we know is that in this row, there's a star in one of these 2. So that one's out. Sorry, I'm in the wrong. My pen was taking over. These 2 are out because they touch the 2 that are left in this row. Blue's just down to these 3, so that one's out. But also this one, which sees all of blue. We're down to these 3, which line up with these 2, so we can get rid of the rest of green up here, and that places the green. Oh yeah, it was only left for the column as well. Brown's down to these 3. Blue lines up with blue, so those are out. And that's out. Blue and red line up. So those are out, as well as these 2. That gives us the gray and the yellow. Right. There are a few other ways to see that. That's red. That's blue. This is dark orange. I hope I haven't made a mistake at this point. That's brown. That's orange. That's indigo. Okay, that was tough. There's probably some like more kind of, I don't know if holistic is the right term, but just kind of like bird's eye view analysis of the staircases that kind of proves some of these locations don't work. And it had a lot of it had to do with the bottom 2 rows. But I don't know. I couldn't quite get there. I had to use some pretty nasty look aheads. All right. Well, how'd you do?